Hi, welcome to this particular session on storage class. So in the previous session, we have talked about the scope and lifetime of the variable. Okay. So in this particular session, we'll be talking about the storage class. Also, I have mentioned during the scope and lifetime, I have given you one problem also. Okay. And I said that we're going to solve that problem after we discuss about the storage class. So we're going to see that also. Okay. Fine. So now let us understand what do you mean by the storage class itself. Before that, let us revisit the concept of scope and lifetime. So scope is a region or the area where the variable functions are available, okay, and the lifetime when this particular variable are available in the computer memory. So in the previous session we have discussed about the scope like file, we have function and block. Also we talked about the lifetime of the variable till where it is it is available in the memory. Okay, so now once we have understood, then it will be very key it will be very easy for us to understand the storage class. Okay, so the key points in the storage class is that it defines where a variable is stored in a storage hierarchy or not. Okay, so like whether we are talking about in the registers or whether we are talking about in the main memory, right? Okay, and also it determines the scope and the lifetime, the scope and the lifetime of the variable. That is the reason why I was talking about scope and lifetime before I was starting this storage class. Okay, and also it determines the initial value to be stored. What kind of initial value that will be stored, okay, for this particular storage class. And please understand one thing: register are accessed faster than the memory, right? So if your variable is declared in register, it will be accessed much faster, okay, it is in the CPU itself, but in the main memory again we have to go through the fetching cycle and all those things, so time taken will be more. So when you that is the reason why the variable stored in register are accessed faster, right? So the key points in storage class is whether you are storing in a register, whether storing in a main memory. Then we talked about scope and lifetime and what is the initial value to be stored. Okay, storage class types. So we have four types. One is the auto, the static, the register, and extern. Okay, so four types: auto, static, register, and extern. So let us see one by one. Auto. The keyword is auto. Okay, typically all the variable when you define it is always auto. Whether you write a keyword or not, it will be it will be taken by default as auto. Storage type, it is in the memory, and the default value of auto is garbage value. Now scope always is local to the block where the variable is being declared. So if I declared in the main, it is the scope is in the main itself. We have declared inside a function, it is inside the function. Okay, if I declare inside a block, it is there. Wherever we are talking, wherever we are defining, it will be the scope is there. Okay, and is lifetime as long the control remain in the block where the variable is defined, right? So as long it is then inside the block, it will as long it is defined inside this particular function itself, it is there, right? So lifetime will be like that. Okay, once it is coming out of that, there is no life because this variable will be removed from the memory itself. Okay, so again I'm repeating, auto, we have to use the keyword auto. Even though if you don't write, by default every variable will be taken as an auto. Then storage class is memory, and by default the value that is stored is always a garbage value, right? And it is local to the block where it is defined. That scope is like that. And the lifetime also, as long it is there in that particular control is inside that particular block, it will be there itself. Okay, the life will be as long as it is there in the control remains in the block itself. Okay, so next is static. For static, I will be using this particular we will be using this particular keyword as static. Storage is also memory, but by default the value is 0. Okay, interesting is the scope is same as that of auto, it will be local to the block, but lifetime, okay, it will continue to exist between the function call and varies at the termination of the program. So for example, in the last class I was talking about one function, right? I was passing a value 6, again I'm passing a value 6, okay, and I was declaring sum equal to 0. right? But if I could have declared this as set static, uh, I or static, sum, then what could have been happened? Then the value of sum will could have been there, right? So whenever I'm calling the next function, the value continue to be exist in that particular point of time. Okay, so that's what we talk. That's what actually the advantage of static. Even the function call, after the function call also, right? The variable still it's remains in the memory, right? So whenever you do a second function call, the entire variable value will be there, so you can easily use it. So when it will going to when the variable will be destroyed, when you actually terminate the when the program itself get terminated. Okay, so next is register. So register is keyword is register. Okay, and we are talking about CPU register, and the default value is garbage, and the scope is same that of a static and auto. It is local to the block itself. Okay, and your lifetime is as similar to that of auto, as long as the control remains the block where the variable is defined. Okay, right? So one thing very important is that today's compiler uh, have the capability to optimize and recognize what are frequently used variables. So if it finds that this is the frequently has been used, so this takes the compiler itself can optimize and put this variable into the register. See, by itself giving the name of the register itself, it doesn't means that you are just compiling the compiler you have to use it. No, you just a request to the compiler, right? And it is the compiler whether it will go to take as a register or not, right? So previously the compiler was like that, based on this availability. But if you today compiler such that even if you don't write register also, if you, that compiler see that it is most frequently it has been used, okay, then it will automatically store this variable into the register itself. Okay, so next is extern. So when you talk about extern is a keyword, and then we have the storage as a memory, and by default the value is 0. Okay, scope it's global. Okay, please understand, because I can declare a variable in one file, okay, like int equal to I, and then I can go in a file B and I can write extern. I will have a separate video on extern, where you will going to understand extern itself as one storage class itself. Okay, fine. And the lifetime, as long as the program continue to exist, as the program continue to execute, it will be there, right? And once the program is moved out, yes, it will be destroyed. Okay, so steep process the storage class is that typically we should not always use global variable. Okay, global variables should be avoided. But suppose you are using some kind of concept in terms of singleton, parent implementation and all these things, so that you can use storage cloud, or sometimes you are using some kind of embedded system you can use for this the global itself. Okay, okay. So variables, if you are using in a particular function, please declare that in the particular function. So sum I am declaring in a function called as in sum. I will declare inside the sum. Why I should declare this as a global? So I will not, or an external variable. So that I should not do, right? So this is some kind of things that we need to understand for your storage class. Okay. So I hope this is clear to you. So when we talk about storage class, right? So we have to understand what is a scope, okay, what is a lifetime itself, that we have already understood, and then key points, that where it is storing, whether it is storing in register, whether it is storing in the main memory, then whether we are talking about scope and lifetime, and what is the initial value that to be stored. And register always access faster than memory, that we always understand, we have known. So types: auto, static, register, and int. Okay, yes. So auto, it is auto itself, and then memory, then we have the garbage value. Okay, and scope, it is there in local to that particular block, and lifetime also, once out of that particular block, it will control is out of that block, it will moved out. Okay, right? So initial storage is garbage. Okay, and static initial storage is 0. Okay, scope is same local to data, but it will continue to exist even the function gets over, get terminated, it will continue to remain as long as the as long as the program is there. If the program is terminated, then only your static variable will be terminated. Okay, so registers, you are using CPU as a non-memory, you have garbage value. Okay, and its scope and lifetime same as that of the auto itself, but the only thing is that today's compiler can optimize and are capable of understanding which is the frequently used variable, and they can put into the register itself. Register means you are just requesting the compiler. Extern, okay, you can declare a variable extern. Initial value will be equal to 0, and it will be global. Okay, and it will be continue to execute as long as the program to execute. Okay, so in the subsequent video I will be demonstrating auto static, then I will be demonstrating your registers. That okay, I can just write a program and show it to you, and then external again I will be having a separate video in order to make you understand the external variable itself. Okay, so I hope you have understood the the storage classes. Okay, so do watch my video, do subscribes, and do share with your friends. Okay, sorry, the tips that I have mentioned out for is that avoid global variable as much as possible wherever it is required. If the program demands, if your application demands, then only you go for that, otherwise don't. Okay, and if the variable is only for that particular function, please go for that particular function rather than use some kind of external variable or use some kind of global variable. Okay, so thank you so much. Do keep watching my video. Thank you.